Hey YouTube, welcome to A Pinch of This and That. It's your girl Stacy, and today we are making Lomo Saltado. This is one of my favorite Peruvian dishes. Me encanta mucho este plato, es mi favorita. We have some white pepper, garlic powder, some french fries, a red onion. We have some cilantro, which I did have some frozen. I'm going to use that. Some tomatoes, green onion, salt, pepper, as well as some vinegar, oyster sauce, soy sauce, which I will be adding a few more ingredients to make the sauce for this, and you'll see that a little bit later on. And you see my steak here. You're going to go ahead and dice all of these up. Now for the onions and tomatoes, I cut them in big wedges as I was shown how to do it. And so this is what you'll need to get started. Cut everything up, and then you'll see the additional spices here. I'll get into those a little bit later, but let's get this meat seasoned up. I'm going to start with some pepper, of course, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some salt. Now I do go ahead and add some white pepper when it comes to making the actual sauce for this. So it will get hit with some cracked black pepper as well as some white pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and mix all that up together before letting that sit aside so that it can marinate for a little bit. And of course, I'm gonna hit it with some of my oil that I love, because you know I love to have that help with adhering the seasonings to the meat. I'm going ahead and adding a generous amount of all-purpose seasoning, and that's just going to tenderize your meat a little bit. You don't want to be heavy-handed with it, because truly all the flavors come in the sauce. And there you go. There I am with the oil. Now, I do love me some grapeseed oil, but you can go ahead and use whatever oil you have handy. Any oil will be just fine. And you don't want to put too much. Put just enough so that it coats the meat and that all the seasonings get to marry up together. Now we're gonna make our sauce for this dish. I'm gonna add some white pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and add some garlic powder. And then I'm also going to add some cumin, which gives it a nice flavor. You gotta add just a little bit, not too much, but enough for you to know that the cumin is in there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with some oyster sauce, about a tablespoon for now, because upon tasting it, I realized that it needed a little bit more. I did add a little bit of soy sauce, and then I go ahead and add my vinegar, and I mix it well. Once everything's mixed up well, you go ahead and add some sesame seed oil. You know, you've got to give it that nice flavoring. Basically, Lomo Saltado is kind of like an Asian beef stir fry. I'm adding some rice wine vinegar. I like rice wine vinegar because it has a bit of a sweetness to it, and it also minimizes the amount of sugar that I'm going to add to this sauce as well. I also added a Scotch bonnet to it, some garlic and ginger. You do not need to use an entire Scotch bonnet like I did, but nevertheless, here I am being extra with the heat. I'm gonna go ahead and add my brown sugar now to the sauce, and I do gradually add the brown sugar because I don't want it to be too sweet, and you'll notice that later on as you proceed with this video. But let's get started on the meat. So I do use equal parts of the sesame seed oil and my grapeseed oil, and I use that to create more flavoring in the meat as it's frying. I do believe that there is a lot of Asian influence, specifically Chinese influence, in Peru, and this is also why a lot of their foods are close to like what the Chinese food that we have out here. A lot of Asian influence in their cooking. Honestly, this is like one of my favorite Peruvian dishes. I can eat this every day. And when I was in Peru, I actually did. Okay, so let's continue with this video. I'm going ahead and adding some oregano to this dish. And that's just something that I learned when I asked one of the chefs at the resort that I was at. Well, one of the resorts that I was at when I was filming Transformers. It was actually Transformers Rise of the Beast. What an amazing movie. but I digress. So as I was saying, I did ask the chef, I believe it was the Toucan Hotel. It was an amazing place to stay. It was in the jungles of Taropoto, Peru. And oh my God, what an experience it was. Anyhow, we're going to take this meat out of the pan and you're going to let that sit aside before you go ahead and add your your ginger and garlic. Now I'm starting with the ginger and garlic first because I want to get a nice flavoring in the pan before adding the large onion wedges and the meat and the tomatoes and the cilantro. Ooh, the smell and the aroma in this kitchen, like, it's just taking me back to Peru. I loved being there. What an experience. You'll see a bit of that footage at the end of this video. And you're just going to combine all your ingredients together and let that sizzle at high heat because it's quickly moving. Most often people do cook this in a wok. I'm really going to invest in a wok. Maybe I'll just throw that out there. Hint, hint, wok for Christmas. Or maybe a wok just in time for Thanksgiving. So now that I've done all that, I'm going to go ahead and add the tomatoes. And I'm going to make sure that I fry everything up for about 5 minutes. Now, I don't want to do it too long because I also have to add the sauce that I have sitting aside. And that's going to be another additional 5 minutes of simmering and getting the sauce to combine with the meat and veggies that are in here. And then I can plate it. And there's the sauce. I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. And most people do add cornstarch. I didn't have any. It doesn't really bother me. I didn't feel like I needed it anyway because the sauce thickens up on its own. And you're just going to toss everything together. And literally, that's it. And you finish it off with some green onion. And that is the dish. So quick, so easy, and so freaking delicious. I turn the heat off, I put the lid on, and then I get started on frying my French fries. Yes, this dish does come with French fries as well as rice, which I made already. Didn't feel the need to have to show you guys any of that, but yeah. So I'm just gonna fry up my French fries and get ready to plate this dish and show y'all how it turned out. And there it is. Honestly, realmente uno de mis platos favoritos para cocinar y comer. Estoy muy grateful de haber estado en Perú y haber experimentado su hermoso país. Oh my God, Peru is so beautiful. Such a beautiful experience. I will never forget it. This is the dish. This is how it turned out. And these are just a few clips of my travels to Peru. Well, my travel to Peru while filming Transformers Rise of the Beast starring Anthony Ramos. And it was just amazing. This is one of the hotels that we stayed at when we arrived in Cusco before heading to the hotel that we stayed at the bottom, I should say at the foot of Machu Picchu. And this is the crowd going crazy for Anthony as he's walking through this little town area before heading to our bus, which takes us up to this hill. And this is a view from the hotel that we were staying at. This is our backyard as we were preparing for the shaman to come in and bless the entire cast and crew. It was just amazing. And over there behind those giant trees was the hill leading up to Machu Picchu. What an experience. I never in my entire life or would imagine that I would be visiting one of the 7 great wonders of the world. And again, this is the backyard of the hotel that we were staying at. Holy shiznit. This is my room. This is my room. Okay, this is my room. Got the little kitchenette. Hold on, it gets better. Ooh, I'm going downstairs. And then when I open my door, what is that there? Is that not the bar? Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my viewers and my new subscribers. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, God is good all the time, and all the time, God is so good, y'all.